Hey everyone, welcome back to the District 3 podcast. My name is Irvin. This is episode, I forgot the number. I think it's like 347. A blessing to be able to get to this number of podcast episodes. This is the first episode that we're recording after our little 2-week break. Honestly, I feel like after that World Cup, I needed a break. I needed to just like chill and take care of myself. And hopefully we're able to go on vacation soon, because I also feel like I need a vacation. I need to disconnect a little bit and just take care of myself, take care of my wife, of our family, and yeah, just decompress. But I'm excited for this episode because I know I say this a lot, but for real, like, we've been trying to make this episode happen for a long time. Yeah. I've been reaching out to this guy, so I'm glad he's finally here. Joining us is my good friend Gilbert Gonzalez, who is the founder of Lil Homies. Gilbert, welcome to the podcast, man. Man, glad you're here. Glad you're finally here, bro.
I know, man. It's been a long time in the making. I appreciate it, man. I'm excited to be here.
And I've known you for a few years. We've sat down before and had coffee and had a conversation about some of the cool stuff that you're doing. And now you're off on this new venture, you know, on with this nonprofit, which I'm really excited about our listeners, our viewers hearing about it today. But I think one of the things that I also want to touch with you is just your story. You have such a impactful story that has kind of led you to where you're at today. Where are you originally from, Gilbert?
Yeah, so I was born in Fresno, California, so that's where I'm originally from.
Okie dokie, so that's not that far away from, I'm from Salinas, California.
Oh, all right, bro, that's pretty close.
It's cool whenever we have people from California here. And how did y'all make your way over here to Arkansas?
Man, that's like, I don't know, man. I think it's just like our culture. My abuelita was like the first one that came over here. And I remember her telling me stories of like, she was probably like one of the first people to move out here. And, you know, us Latinos, one person moves, everybody comes. Dude. And that's how it started. It was my grandma, then my uncles and cousins, and my mom just like, let's go to Arkansas. So, and ever since then, we've been here.
That's kind of how it starts, right? Just one person starts coming over here. For us, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, it was my uncles that worked in the poultry industry here who told my family, yo, like, there's opportunities over here. You know, it's a little bit safer than where you live at in California. Yeah. And there's probably more college opportunities for your kids. And we made our way over here, and it was like, I think it was the first time we ever experienced snow. Because in California, like, I don't know your part, I never experienced snow as a kid. Yeah. It was always just hot, sometimes rain. And I remember we got to my uncle's house, and we were all going inside his house, and all of us slipped on the snow, dude.
Man, that's
my dad slipped first. Yeah. And then my mom was walking right behind. She slipped. And, of course, me and my sister were walking right behind them, and we slipped. My uncle came out of the house. He slipped. It was like a movie, dude, just experiencing snow for the first time by literally falling right onto it. Yeah. So how did y'all adapt to Arkansas when y'all moved over here? Did y'all feel like this could be a place called home?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think what helped a lot was just, like, my grandma, because, like, my grandma, man, was, like, my second mom. You know, I lived with her for a while when I was in, I know we're going to talk about it, but when I was just in the bad times. But she just made us feel like at home. We stayed at her apartment probably maybe a month or two, something like that, or maybe even longer. Just having like family already helped navigating the community. So that helped us instead of like we were being the first ones trying to navigate everything. I think we'll feel that pressure. But, man, we felt welcome, and I love living in Springdale, man.
Where is your family originally from?
So my mom was born in LA, but my dad's from Irapuato, Guanajuato. So that's where my dad's from. So my dad's originally from Mexico. Okay,
but you're you're a second generation American then.
Yeah.
Your mom was born. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that. Do you feel that that's an advantage to come from someone who is already from here, from the U.S. and like might be more adapted than? And I know maybe you don't have much to compare to unless like you can compare to like your wife's family of their journey and stuff. Did you feel there was any advantage of having, you know, being raised by someone that's already from here, from the U.S.?
I would say, yeah, man, because I just think like knowing the culture, growing, this is all I know is America, and like speaking the both languages. You know, my Spanish is not perfect, but like just knowing both really helped. Because I know when I would go to Mexico as a young kid.
I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah, so it was just like totally different, you know. But I grew up going, but it just like I adapted. But I could just imagine somebody coming and leaving their culture, especially like my dad coming from Mexico. He would say that he used to tell me it was just different, you know, growing up in a rancho, you know, and coming here just work. I feel like we just like had an advantage to that, and I think it would be harder for other people that didn't grow up over here. So,
How old were you when you moved from California to Arkansas?
I don't remember, bro, but I remember it was either in the 3rd grade. All I remember, man, is like as a kid, is like turning on the TV and watching the news talk about Tupac Shakur. That was like one of my memories as a kid.
When he died?
When he died, like turning on the TV, like boom, Tupac Shakur died. Well, that was in 96.
95, 96?
Yeah, so that was around the time that we came. I still have that in my mind. I always remember. That's always weird.
Dude.
But I always remember that. It's just like, man, Tupac died.
It's interesting how we have those events where we, relate to a big moment in our family. And like, for example, moving, right? Because when we moved from California here, the event that I reference is the World Trade Center, 2001,
yeah.
because we moved here like the year after that happened. So I'm always like, 2002, because it was the year after. So that's interesting. And I know, based a little bit about what we've spoken about or what you've put on social media, you've gone through a lot to get to where you're at today. Can you tell us a little bit about what that journey looked like for you, for you to be the man that you are today?
Yeah, that's I wish I had longer time, but I'll try the best that I can to explain it. So yeah, like even being like here, like I was reflecting with my wife and my mom lately. It's just like I'm lucky to be alive, because I was a gang member for 10 years of my life, and just coming from that background was just like crazy now that I'm 38. But just like seeing it and being part of it, it's just been a wild ride, right? Because like what's pretty interesting, like I was a break dancer. I loved breakdancing, man. But when I eventually started like noticing something's different about the people that I'm hanging around with, is it my family or friends, they would carry themselves different. I started paying attention to the tattoos or the music or the slang that they would use, and I'd be like, what's this? Because like I grew up in Springdale, but when I would go to California with my moms and stuff, that's when I started realizing like, okay, like what I'm surrounded is not really normal, and like that really influenced me a lot, because like a lot of people say like Springdale, but like I always tell people like when I will go to California, like, because especially like watching, you probably seen it like American Me, Blood In, Blood Out, all the like Chicano music, like that influenced me a lot. And when I would go to like LA and my family would take me to the hood, man, it just like opened my eyes. Like, man, like I wanted to be a part of this. And the best way I always explain it to people is like if Christians will go where Jesus was alive and walking, you're going to come out of there different. Like there's something going to come out of you like, okay, this is a different experience. The same way when I would come back from California, man, and just seeing like the gang writing on the wall, the cultures, like it just shaped me, man. And like I got jumped in at the age of 15. And
was this in California or here?
Well, yeah, I would say it's both and, man, because like I was claiming it, but I want to go to California. It was just like, I was out there. I was like, what's up? Because I used to be with like the homies and around the older veteranos, and it was just like, man, like this is something that I want, because it was always like, I would go over there for the summer vacations and come back like on this high. I call it like a spiritual high, and come back like, what's up, homie? I'm active, And it was just something that really like fueled me because.
What do you think it was? Like what part of the gang activity made you feel good?
I think, man, what I reflect back was the community, man. Like just knowing like there was older fools or older homies that just like would like show me things like, yo, come here, little homie. Like show me that love. I think it was like deeply, it was the community, man. And I seen it and I wanted it. That's what like really got me to that.
I've thought about that just because I was also raised around it, right?
Yeah.
But I was personally never a gang member. But I've always wondered what is attracting to the youth when it comes to joining gangs. And I've always felt that like the community aspect is the most important part because you want to be loved. And sometimes some of these kids aren't neglected by their parents. Sometimes, they're raised by grandparents who maybe can't be there physically or emotionally for them all the time. Yeah. And when there's veterans in the gang, they take care of you. Obviously, they want something from you, right? They want you to do certain things for them. But feeling like you're part of something, I think, is in having community just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So I completely understand of people who maybe are raised in that environment and they become gang members, like how good that makes them feel, you know? And of course, there's other stuff, right? You can have a lot of fun, do things that probably are illegal and like and cause damage and all these different things. That's part of it. But that's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, because too, man, like it's just what I see just with like, I look at my homies too, like some of the homies like grew up in worse conditions than I did, but like knowing that we had each other is just like, that's what like made us like want this lifestyle, and just the way like them dudes would carry themselves, the slang and just like the culture all behind that, man. It's just
the respect
like
that
the
they
respect.
had.
And the other thing too, man, like when I reflect on that time, like I wasn't really good at school or sports, and I was trying to find like, I guess like who I am, right? Because like I love breakdancing, but when I felt like when I got jumped in, this is when I knew like, bro, like I can see myself doing this for the rest of my life, because like I counted the cost when I got in. Like either I'm gonna die or I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in jail. But I didn't care, man, because when I was once in this lifestyle, like I loved it, you know. And I felt like this is what I was like at that moment when the way I used to think is like, this is what I was created to do, and I didn't think about my future or anything. I was just living in the now, you know. And I would look at the older homies, the respect that they had. I wanted that, but I wanted it more. I wanted to be like them, but better, man, if that makes sense. Like I wanted my own respect and my own credibility and all that.
Isn't it interesting also that people, when they're in it, they don't think about how they can gain that respect outside of a gang as well? Like in the community, you can also gain that respect. You can build community. You know, you can have people that care for you. Yeah. You can have all these different opportunities. But I think the system of being in a gang, it's kind of easier to walk into than walking into power in government or in community just in general, right?
Yeah. No, that's true, man. Because it's like, we're around this, like, okay, like we got easy access right here, like let's do it. So no, that's good.
So was there a moment that was like a turning point for you where you were kind of like, I need to leave, I need to stop doing this?
Man, you know what I think about that? I think there was moments throughout that journey of my 10 years, man. Like my faith plays a lot in this, but like what was pretty interesting, like even though like when people think of gang members, they think like, oh man, these vatos are all tough, you know, and they're not afraid. But like, bro, like there would be moments of the things that we'll do, or like the situations I was going, like when I was in my room by myself with my own thoughts, when the homies were away, like, bro, I would just like think about life. Like, I don't want to live this way. And like, I will pray, but I'll be out there back at the same week, bro. I'll be out there in the streets, and like eventually it's like I was just tired of just like fighting, bro, like looking over my shoulder. And like it got out of control when I was like addicted to like to drugs a lot, and like I got stabbed twice, bro. So like the first time I felt like I was Incredible Hulk, and it's almost like a badge of honor in the streets when you get like stabbed or shot or jumped or whatever, because it's like you're showing people you're really about this life. And it's when it was like the second time, man, when I got stabbed, I seen my mom come through the emergency room. I remember laying down and like I'm bro, just like all busted up. See my mom's reaction, like I'm gonna lose my son to this life. And like that was like one of the turning points of like, if I do not change, like I'm gonna end up dying. And that's when I started thinking about life. Like, was I created just to like be in this gang and like see my homies going in and out of prison, and some of them no longer alive, and some of them are just like cut up in the systems? Like, is this what life's about? Then slowly, man, I started really like slowing down, and then like I met my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, Karen. She started going to church, and that's when it was like just like God just working in my heart, man, to the transition. You know, that was one of like the final turning points. Like, all right, like I don't want to live this way no more. Like, I'm tired of being broken. I'm tired of just feeling empty and just being that way.
Were you able to like quit drugs cold turkey, or did you have to go through like a center or something to like cut it out?
No, man, that's one thing that I praise the Lord for, is that like for my story, man, because I know everybody's story is different from like recovery. Is just like, it was just cold turkey, man. Like when I came to know the Lord, when I trusted Him, like it wasn't easy, but I wasn't like going back to it, if that makes sense. And I think one thing that really helped me in my journey of recovery, I feel like once like I think just like I think the culture, the gang culture that taught me is like almost like commitment to things. If that makes sense. And like I felt like always, like when I made that switch, I was like, man, I'm gonna be committed to this. If I was committed 10 years of my life to this like lifestyle, I know I could commit to better my life. And I think that really helped me my life. I was disciplined and committed, and as well like God working through me, but it was just like that commitment that really pushed me. It wasn't easy, man. Like it was the first 3 years of like being sober and walking a new life. It was really hard for me.
How much did it mean to you, and how much of a difference did it make to have your partner at that moment to help you kind of like shift your mentality at that time?
Yeah, man, it meant a lot to me. My wife, Karen, man. Shout out to Karen. I love you. She was my rib, bro. Like, she really helped me a lot. Like, if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would be where I'm at now, because she was always supporting me. And, like, for the first 3 years, like, I couldn't be around, like, my homies or even be, like, at carne asadas or none of that because of alcohol. None of that, man. And like I would break down crying, and I would tell her like, I want to give up. I want to throw the towel in. She's like, no, you've gone too far. You're all the way here. Why are you gonna give up? So that really helped me a lot, man. Just having her beside me and pushing me.
And it sounds like just getting in touch with God also was a big thing for you too, right?
Yeah.
How did your relationship with God like blossom from the point that you started going to church?
Yeah, man. What's pretty interesting is like I grew up knowing about God because we grew up Catholic and all that, and I always had that growing up in my mind, man. My dad was really into church and stuff, and like when one thing, man, as a teenager, like I never read the Bible. You know, I would just hear stories about like Jesus and stuff, and like when I started reading about how like Jesus came to seek and save the lost, man, like that really got to me. There's this one story that I really relate to. There's this guy that was like demon possessed, and he was like the outcast of the society. He lived among the tombs, but when he encountered Jesus, he freed him, and he went back to his community. He's like, look what God has done. And that story really spoke to me, man, because I was just like, that was me. I was like the outcast of my family and like the community. And like that really freed me to know that there was a God who loved me, who gave himself for me, like, and that really helped me, man, to put my trust and hope and like rely on him during the difficult times. Because if I didn't have him, man, I don't think I would be at where I'm at now.
And there was a while that you started like preaching, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because that must have been a crazy thing for people that knew you back then. They're like, oh shoot, Gilbert's over here preaching.
No, man, that's true, man. Yeah. Because it was weird. I'll tell you this quick story and I'll go back to that. I remember running into my homie at the Dollar General that used to be here on Emma. It's no longer there. It's a trip, bro. I'm getting older.
Rest in peace, Dollar General.
Yeah, Dollar General, I know. He moved from California and came back. And he's like, yo, bro, I want to meet up with you. And I met up with him. And I wasn't bald. I wasn't pelon no more, bro. Baggy. I mean, I used to wear like size 48s and like 3 extra large, bro, swimming in my clothes. They used to say it. And I remember he looked at me. He's just like, bro, this is weird. This is not you. This is not the person I know. I got to go. You're freaking me out. And it was like at those moments, man, when I was coming, like knowing the Lord and like teaching or preaching, like it was weird to me. Like still, like even today, it's still weird to me because I never thought I'd be doing this. And like what people would hear would be like, that fool? Or like, bro, is this true? Is this like a phase? Because even my family and my friends are like, it's just a phase, you know? He's just getting through it. But bro, like even when like when I would go up there, I'm just amazed, you know? Like I never thought I'd be doing it, you know? Because I was just like, whatever, you know? So it's just been a wild ride.
So let's talk about Lil Homies, which is the nonprofit that you have created.
Yeah.
I know just by, you know, looking at your social media and knowing you from the outside, you seem like someone that really cares about trying to mold the next generation, trying to help the young kids, especially brown kids that are going through it. So Lil Homies is a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And I think you just started it, right?
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about what led for you to make the decision to start the nonprofit? And what exactly are you trying to do with Lil Homies?
Yeah, so I was on staff at Samaritan Church in Springdale as a pastor for 3 years. And I always had a heart for the youth. So when I came out of that lifestyle, I was always trying to reach back into the community of Springdale and like reach out to my old principals that I used to just like get on their nerves, and they expelled me. I was just like, look, bro, like I made a change in my life. I want to get back to my community. And I would do it in seasons when I was doing electrical work before I became a pastor. And when I became a pastor of a church, that gave me more opportunity because the schedule is a little bit more flexible there. And like schools started reaching out, and like eventually it started like growing. And like I felt this tension in my heart. A good tension was like I love pastoring people, but my heart's always been for the community, man. I feel like I thrive being in the community, and just the way that I'm wired. I just like being with the homies in the streets, man, because I can relate. I know how to navigate those areas
In a different way
in
now,
a different way, in a good way, by the way, not in a bad way, because I come from that. You know, like for other people, they will feel like intimidated or scared, and I get it. Like I'm not acting like I'm not like thoughtful of situations that I'm in, but I'm really like, man, I know these people. This is where I come from, so I'm more laid back. But like when I was on church staff, that's when like it started growing, like I said, and eventually we started the nonprofit, man. I made that transition in January. You know, I stepped in faith, and it's just been a crazy ride to see what Little Homies has become, because I've been doing this work for 13 years, just being in the community. But as a nonprofit, this is new. I always tell people like the whole nonprofit world is new to me, like how to navigate those spaces of like funding and grants. But doing the work is not easy. And what we're trying to do with Little Homies is that these dudes will transform their community for the good, right? Because I reflect on the time when I was in the streets. There was no, that I could remember, no like programs or any of the design for like people that look like me and smell like me, I would say. It was always these other programs. Those were good, but it never felt like, man, these are my people, if that made sense. And I couldn't like see myself being part of those programs. And that's why I was like, man, I want to create something where the homies feel at home. Like, man, this is my place to belong. And that's why I created Little Homies. It's a mentorship program for at-risk youth, so they can experience hope and transformation. And that's our desire here, is to walk alongside these kids who are at risk at joining gangs or caught up in the street or don't have good, positive role models. It's just to walk alongside of them and just be like, look, man, these are the things that I see in you. You have life. You have value. Because we all know this, man. Like, life ain't easy. Life is hard, bro. I'm 38 years old, and I feel like, man, I don't have life figured out. But what I notice is when you have like positive community around you, people who love you, support you, you're likely gonna thrive and make better choices because you have people who are on in your corner. And that's what we're trying to be for these little dudes, is just like walking this journey with them as they make mistakes. Because I always tell the Little Homies, like, man, we're not just here for the good times, bro. We're here for the bad times. And then the bad times is we build deeper relationships with you to know that we're here. Because one thing that I notice about like the homies from the streets, they don't trust you right away. But when they see you, that you're committed and you're present, man, they start trusting you and opening up like their heart and say, man, this dude's really for me. And that's what we want to be, because it's like, I reflect on the times of like being in the streets, even my homies. Like, some of my homies, man, were some of the most smartest people, some of the most talented, some of the most giving, but we didn't have, like, I would say, a positive community around us to say like, yo, bro, you're good at this. And that's what we're trying to do, man, so they won't make the same mistakes. And
or a platform, right?
Yeah, a platform. Or like, man, I wasted 10 years of my life to that, like a decade, bro. And I think about that, like, man, that's 10 years from the age of 15 to 25 just in the streets. And I don't want them to make the same mistakes, man. I want them to to know that they have value, they have purpose, and as well, because I always say to the homies, that's like, man, hope doesn't stop at you, hope keeps moving. Meaning that, look, man, one day I'm gonna be like, I always say, like the veteran, I'm gonna be an OG, bro. But it's about you giving back to the community, man, because one day you're gonna see a younger homie that looks like you, acts like you have the same experiences, and you can help them, man. It's about giving back to our community. And so that's what we've been doing with Lil Homies. And it's been awesome to see these young kids, man, grow, you know?
I think it's so really interesting when you talk about, you know, with the youth, sometimes they don't trust you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I've had similar experiences, even though I'm a brown man, right? Like
Yeah.
I've been invited to speak to like the juvenile court folks that used to meet over there at ALE. I don't know where they meet at now, but they used to meet over there, and I would go talk to them. And I remember that at the beginning when I would go in the room, even though I looked like them, they were like joking, sometimes even trolling me because of the suit jacket that I had on, all these different things, right? And then I was like, how do I connect with these kids? And I remember at that time we had recently had like some shootings that happened in the area.
I remember that.
And I remember that some of those kids were the same age as the person that I knew that got killed during their shootings. And I remember I told them, I was like, how many of you knew this person?
Yeah.
Like 6 of them raised their hand. And it's almost like at that moment they were like, oh, like he knows about what we've been going through emotionally. And then I told them my story about how I knew that person, about how they were my next door neighbor, and about like the relationship that I had built with him, and also just kind of trying to not shame them for their decisions, because we all make mistakes.
Yeah, man.
But just for them to know that there's a better world out there, that is a safer world, that has more opportunities where they can thrive in, and they put themselves less in danger by doing things differently. You know, and I was able to like create relationships with them through finding a way to connect. Because I feel like there's a lot of people sometimes that will come speak and they'll just be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. It's bad. You know, like.
Yeah, man, I feel you.
You're not going to connect with anybody that way.
No, man, because it's true, bro. Because what I noticed in this type of work that I've been doing for a while is just like, bro, it's about being there and being present. That means a lot. Because one of the things, the Lil Homies, we have 5 values, man, that shape what we do, is consistency. And that's what I noticed about this type of work is consistency, man. Day in and day out. That's when they know, like, oh, this dude's solid, bro. And that's one thing that I like, that I know about the homies that I like. Is like they take a while to trust people, and I get it. But once they trust you, man, it's just like they're for you, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, man.
No.
How do you get involved with this program? If you're like a parent that thinks that they want their kid to be involved with this program, what does the age range look like?
Yeah.
How do people start?
Yeah, man. I think like right now, what makes us unique too is that the way that we got introduced to the homies is just from like me knowing some homies in the streets, and as well like we mentor during school hours. So I build relationships with the schools, and usually I tell them like this is a demographic of kids I want to reach, and like the counselor or the principal will set up a meeting with the student, and I just tell them like, you look, homie, I share my story about who I was and what I've done and where I am now. And if they want to be part of this, man, like I'm gonna be committed to you. So that's the way they join usually. Or somebody would be like, hey, can you meet with my son or whatever, and we can meet with them. And what was the other thing you asked about?
The age range.
The age range was pretty interesting, man. That when I first started it, I only was targeting teenagers from like 8th grade to 12th grade, and that was my focus. But bro, I just seen this movement now of elementary kids coming.
Oh, really? And
meeting with some elementary students. Because we, in our program too, I forgot to mention, we do boxing. So we use the community center in Springdale to do the boxing. And this one kid, bro, pulls up out of nowhere like, yo, man, somebody told me there's boxing here. And I was like, who are you? He's like, I don't know, bro, but somebody told me. I was like, well, jump in. And that little dude brought some other little dudes, bro. And it's just like we had some elementary.
The real Lil Homies.
Yeah, yeah, we call those dudes junior homies. But it's just been this like this movement of like teenagers, elementary kids, but as well their parents being bought in, bro. And their parents are for this program. And it's just been sweet to see like their parents buy into this, man. And it's just been like, just as we grow, because we're a new nonprofit, but just like shaping it how it goes, man, you know? And it's
Do you
weird.
see like these kids getting along when they're together in that environment?
Yeah, I would say yes and no, bro. There's times where we like at the boxing, like they get along, but there's times where like I will be at the schools mentoring some kids, they get along with these kids, and it's just that whole drama clique or people from different whatever crews or whatever. They don't get along, and it's just like I had that, man. So like there's like the good. I love doing this work, but it's hard as well to how to navigate those spaces, man, to protect the kids and to have a safe environment. So we're always processing, filtering, like, okay, does this? Because what I always do, man, is just always ask the homies, like, hey, do you know this kid? If you do have a problem, let's sit down and talk about it, you know, because he wants to better his life. Okay, let's talk about it. So that's what we're really like cautious with it as well.
Do you currently have a like an office at the moment, or are you just doing all of this kind of just wherever it's needed, kind of?
Yeah, service? I would say like we're mobile right now, man. But you can usually find me at Onyx, bro.
Hey,
so I'm always there meeting people. But like we don't have an office. That's the dream, man. The dream is to have a location where kids can come after school and just be like their parents know where they're at.
I'm throwing this out there, so if there's any sponsors out there.
Yeah, any sponsors. I know we need a location because like what I do notice, man, like I know location will be like a safe spot when kids know where we're at, they can go. Like, oh, that's the Little Homies building, let's go. They're going to be there. They're going to do boxing. They're going to do mentoring or like life classes. That's the dream. But right now we're mobile. So we do the boxing at the community center. And then we do boxing at the homie's house. Luke, who's the boxing coach, we do it at his house. So the mentoring we do during school hours. And when we hang out, we'll go to the pools and stuff. So we're just mobile right now, man. The dream is to have a building.
Besides the building, what are some other goals that you have for this program that you kind of been thinking about? Like maybe one day we can do this kind of thing.
Yeah, one of my big goals, man, is to have these homies get to a spot where they're like healthy and good, that they can become leaders within our program, that we can hire them, man. That's one of my dreams, is that they can be leaders, man. And one day, man, if like I get old, that they can take my place. That's the dream, man, to give them opportunities to invest in what I'm doing. Because I always tell them, like, bro, it's about giving back. Because what is interesting, man, is that when we took these kids to do a summer camp at Elmdale Elementary, we took the homies who were part of the program to give back. And, bro, like, the reaction and excitement after giving back was just like, man, I love that. It felt good. And that's the hope, man. It's just to like able to pay them to be like, yo, man, you're going to lead the boxing program side of it. Or you're going to come with me, mentor the students. And just, that's one of the, like my dreams in my mind, man, you know.
Do you currently have volunteers for your program?
Yeah, yes. So we have a couple volunteers helping. Shout out to the homegirl, Yena. She helps in the boxing. Shout out to my wife, Sonia, Rachel, people that help, man, behind the scenes of like, hey, we need this stuff. They help, man. So yeah, we have volunteers.
It'd be cool for you to eventually have all different employees, right? Like you said, having people that are part of the program that can help. I know you mentioned that whenever you were younger, you weren't seeing a lot of opportunities similar to what you're doing now, or something close to it that allows kids that are going through those kind of experiences to have a platform, to have resources to do things that they're passionate about. Do you still feel that things are kind of the same?
Man, that's a good question.
Because I kind of do to some extent.
Yeah.
I think there's folks that are doing good work. Like, I like the folks over there at the Hunger and Action Gym.
Oh, man, those are the homies, bro.
Yeah, those are good people.
Yeah, it's good people
over there. Solid. But I'm talking about like besides them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's still space to do more things like this.
Yeah. No, I know, man, because like one thing that I'm learning as just doing nonprofit, like I can't solve all of the problems, but knowing that there's other things that I can build partnership, be like, yo, man, you should check these foods out. I think it'll be helpful, I think we need more of that, more of nonprofits or just volunteers or people that are willing to like support the work that we're doing, that they have resources or gifts that they can have, like free counseling, man, because I know some of the homies can benefit from counseling, or stuff like that to help us to have like this little network of things that we can rely on each other.
That's a good thing, the counseling thing. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just normalizing like mental health resources.
Oh, I know, bro. Yeah.
Because I know in our communities it's like so difficult sometimes to even talk to our parents about it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your experience has
No,
been.
it's the same, bro. Like, even like I remember growing up, like counselor mentor is like, that's local, you know, like, pa qué, you know? And it's just like,
take a shot, you'll be fine.
Yeah. But it's just like, man, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have got counseling as a young person, but as well in my early 20s, I wish I had processed a lot, you know, because some of the things I still live with it today. But I think it'd be really helpful for like the homies, for people, you know, especially for our community, just to like have that and to be normalized. Like, is this normal, bro? You know, it's good for us to have this to help us, you know, because I'm not a counselor. I have experiences and things of life, but there's sometimes when things are out of my control. It's like, man, that's a good question. I can't help you with that, but like, hey, there's this counselor you can meet, bro. Solid dude, you know, go that route.
Makes sense. So you're a dad, you're a family man,
Yeah.
you have your own family now. How important is it for you to break like cycles that maybe you were raised on as a kid? Like when it comes to like mental health, when
Yeah.
it comes to just being a parent, is that something that you put thought of when you're like, man, I want to do things way different than the way that I was raised?
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. Because like, shout out to my parents, man. You know, like they did everything they could in their hands to raise me well, man. But you know, I was really a hard child, bro. So,
It's on you then.
It's on me, man. So every time I always tell my mom, I call them random, like, I'm sorry that I put you through this. But like now as a father, man, I'm like, okay, like I want to raise my kids well, knowing that they can talk to me and process things. Even as a parent, man, like when I make a mistake with my older son or my younger son, I'm just like, hey, son, like I reacted out of anger and I'm sorry for that. Forgive me. Because I want them to know, like, dad makes mistakes. I'm not perfect. Or hear them out when they're frustrated and process, like, hey, like, why are you angry? Let's talk about it. Because growing up, we couldn't, man. Like, that was just like, hey, you know? It's just our culture. But I just, like, I'm always trying to filter, like, what can I do as a parent so they could be better off in future as they raise their children and I have grandchildren, bro. And just to be like, man, like, my dad gave it my all. So I'm always thinking about that. I get emotional, man, too, because it's like as a father, like I'm shaping my boys, you know, to become man, and just I want them to be in this place. Like, man, my dad did everything he could to raise us right and in the right spots to become adults, man. And I'm always thinking, like, okay, what can I be better as a father, man? You know,
I'm glad you do that, just because, you know, I had a really good experience with my parents. Like, my parents were really amazing parents. My mom wasn't a very like emotional person.
Yeah.
So I always joke around that like the first time she ever said I love you was through Facebook.
Yeah.
And that was like 7 years ago, brother.
Yeah.
And like and there's times where like I'll sit down with her and I'm like, Mom, why can't you never say I love you to my face?
Yeah.
You know, you always have to say it through Facebook or like in a text message or something. And then she's like, you know I love you, Irvin.
Nah.
But it's still so hard for them to say it, right?
Yeah.
But like my dad was the opposite. Even though my dad was a very flawed individual, like heavy alcoholic, never hurt us because of his alcohol addiction or anything like that. But he would always say, when he would do something that he knew was wrong, he would always apologize.
Yeah.
And like he was a very emotional person where he couldn't contain the emotion of him having to apologize, so he would cry.
Yeah.
So I remember like times where like I'd get in trouble for something that I really shouldn't have gotten in trouble for.
Yeah.
And he would come up to me and he'd just be crying. He'd be like, I'm sorry, Irvin. I'm sorry I did that.
Yeah.
And I think that allowed me to be very forgiving to people. Like I give people a lot of grace.
Yeah.
And I also understand that people are going through it in their own life. Who knows what kind of experiences, journeys people are having to navigate. But whenever I have kids, whenever God blesses us with kids, I would love to also be that kind of dad where if I mess up or if I have times where like I'm upset and I just react out of being upset, then I can, you know, put my ego aside and still go to my kid and be like, yo, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me, kind of thing.
No, that's good, man. Because like, you know, it's interesting too. Like when I had my 10-year anniversary of being sober, my dad, like I'm probably get emotional, like at the end of like giving my speech, just like thanking my parents, you know, just like still loving on me even in a difficult time. Like my dad, like he hugged me, like he said, like, I'm proud of you. And bro, like I didn't hear that growing up a lot, but that meant a lot. Like just to see my dad just like love on me, that meant a lot. Like he always loved me, bro. But just like as a kid, you want to hear those words. And that, I was like 30 something, the early in my 30s, to hear that, bro. Like I felt like a little kid, and I started crying. You know, it's like that. Like I love you, pops. So,
You're like, bro, I could have used this 20 years ago, but
but like my dad's a good dad, man, and he's a hard worker. He really taught me what it is to work hard and to give what he could to us, like what he didn't have growing up, bro. You know, because my dad came from the rancho, bro, and just seeing like where he comes from. You know, back then there was like, as a kid growing up, you know, they didn't have like running water or electricity, bro. And just like, shout out to my pops.
Is he still alive today?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Does he know about you have a nonprofit?
Yeah, he's super proud, man. They always look at me like, out of all my kids, whoever thought you'd be doing this type of stuff. But it's just like they
preaching and a nonprofit.
they preach. I know, man. Like I'm always thinking about like my mom. My mom always comments like, man, it's wild to see how proud and just like how inspiring like I am. You know, how I'm blessing the community, man. They're always proud of that. Like that's my son right there. So.
That's
Instead
so cool,
of being
dude.
on the news, bro, you know.
Now I'm gonna be on the news for something good.
Yeah, something good, man. Praise God.
We ask this question to everybody that's our
Yeah.
guest. What do you do to take care of your mental health?
Yeah, I'll do a couple things. Number one is just like prayer. That really helps me a lot, man. Secondly is like I work out, man. So that really has helped me a lot, man. Hitting the gym, boxing with the homies, man. That's really helped me release some of that like stress in my mind. So those are the, like I would say, like the two things that have helped me, man. And people too that I can like go to and be like, hey man, I'm processing things that I need help. You know, that's really been helpful.
Nice, brother. Well, where can people find you on social media? Or where can people find Lil Homies online?
Yeah, man. So the way you can find Little Homies is it's Little Homies, but Lil instead of like spelling it like Little. It's
Okey-dokey.
Lil. Little Homies 479. It should come up, man. Same thing with the Facebook, Instagram is Little Homies 479, and you can find out what we're doing and what we're doing in the community, stuff like that. They could reach out, or if they know any kids, like you know, they could point into our direction, DM us and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Well, Gilbert, thank you so much for making the time to be here, brother. I'm glad we finally made this happen.
Yeah.
We need to follow up in a few months so we can know where the program's at.
Yeah, man, for sure.
What you're up to. Hopefully, you know, we're putting that out in the universe that you get an office eventually.
I know, bro.
So
and Springdale, bro, especially Springdale.
Yeah, so we can do the next interview in the in that office.
Yeah, man.
But for everybody that's listening, make sure you check out Gilbert online. Follow the program that he's doing. If you have a kid that needs that kind of help, reach out to him. If you're a sponsor, if you're a funder, and you're seeing the good, listen to this podcast episode. Look at all the good things that Gilbert and Lil Homies are doing. Support his program. But for everybody listening, that was the end of episode, who knows, maybe 347, 346. This is Irvin, and this was our guest, Gilbert Gonzalez from Lil Homies.
Yep.
And we're signing out.
See you.